Today we're going to look at this problem that just says solve x minus a half squared equal to x. So this is an interesting problem because your first instinct is to do this. You think about square rooting that because you see that whole term being squared, so you think, well, I'm going to offset that square by square rooting. But the problem with that is that we have an x on the other side. So we have square root of x. I am not able to just take the square root. I'm sure there is probably some lines where you can or do something weird like that. I'm sure there's some weird way of working out that, but I'm just going to stick with like, okay, well, that's not really a viable option right now. So let's just expand this out. I think now my next instinct is to expand out x minus a half squared and see what happens. And I'm sure there's other ways of doing this. Like there's always ways that you don't even really think about and methods that you're like, oh, I didn't even realize that that's possible. And I'm sure there's something there. But I'm just going to go with expanding this out. X squared, x times a half is minus a half x. Minus a half times x is minus a half x. And then plus a fourth. So I get x squared, negative half x minus negative half x. I'm sorry, did I say minus a negative half x? I meant negative half x minus half x is going to be negative 2 over 2, which is negative 1, so negative 1x plus a fourth. So expanding that out, I get x squared minus x plus a fourth equal to x. My next thought process is to probably just subtract x and get the set equal to 0, and then we'll go from there. So I'll have x squared minus 2x plus a fourth equal to 0. Now I'm kind of in a weird situation where I have a number of options. First, I have the option to wipe out this denominator of 4 by multiplying everything by 4, which I think I'm going to do. I can use quadratic formula right away now, which I think it might get a little difficult with the fraction. I'm not saying it's going to be like impossible or anything, but I think I'd rather get rid of this for if I'm going to go the quadratic formula route or complete the square. I am going to go the route of wiping out this fraction first, so I'm going to multiply by 4. And the reason I'm multiplying by 4 is because I have this denominator of 4. So if I multiply everything by 4, this will become 4 over 4, which would be 1. So I've dropped out the fraction part of it. So 4 times x squared is 4x squared. 4 times negative 2x is negative 8x. Plus 4 times a fourth is 1 equal to 0. Now I think quadratic formula would be probably our best route. And again, you probably could have used the completing the square here. Just subtract a fourth, divide, and I think that wouldn't have been too crazy. But for some reason, I want to use quadratic formula, so I'm going to use quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we're going to do negative, and our b term is negative 8. So this is our a, this is our b, this is our c. Plus and minus the square root of b squared. So that's going to be negative 8 squared minus 4 times the a term of 4 times the c term of 1 all over 2 times 4. Negative times negative 8, or the opposite of negative 8, is positive 8. Plus minus the square root. I'm going to change colors here. So again, the opposite of negative 8 is positive 8. Plus minus the square root of negative 8 squared is going to be 64. And then we have 4 times 1 is 4 times 4 is 16. So minus 16 all over 8, 2 times 4. I get 8 plus and minus square root of 48 divided by 8. Okay, so things are coming along here. Let's see. We have now 8 plus and minus the radical 48. So let's clean up that 48. think 16 is probably our best bet, right? 16 times 3. So let's do, so square root of 48. Let's break down this radical. That's going to be 16 times 3, because the largest perfect square that goes into 48 is 16. And then the square root of 16 is 4. And then I have the square root of 3 there. So 4 root 3. So this is going to be 8 plus and minus 4 root 3 over 8. Not out of the woods just yet, because 8 and 4, I can take out a 4 from there. So I'm going to take out 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2, plus and minus the square root of 3 over 8. And then 4 over 8 is going to simplify to a half, 1 over 2. 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 8 twice. So we'll have 2 plus minus square root of 3 all over 2. There is our answer. There's our long-winded answer. And I'm sure there's a lot more ways that we could have done that, but for some reason quadratic formula was just jumping out to me. And the key here is clearing out this fraction. I think clearing out this fraction makes things a little bit more manageable. So then we get all the way down to 2 plus and minus root 3 over 2. Yeah, let me know what you would have done if there's something I'm missing here, but that is the route that I'm taking. So hopefully this helps you out with a problem like that.